Hello, everyone. Sorry for the late start. We are here. We're about 8 minutes in. It's looking like Eriror versus tstew. This is one of the last matches for the Swiss round portion of the Link to the Past Randomizer tournament. So both these guys are 5-1. I don't know about tiebreakers. I know the winner is definitely going to make it into the top 8. The loser will have a chance based upon tiebreakers, which I don't know the specifics on because those are constantly in flux, and we've got a couple more races coming through. I am Hammerbro, and I am joined in the booth by Clear Mouse. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Unfortunately that we didn't really get a chance to see the first, looks like 8-ish minutes, but nonetheless, the remaining whatever number of minutes should be a really good.
Yep, and speaking of not seeing the first 8 minutes, our tracker, Dark Diplomat, already on top of all this stuff, showing us all the stuff that we have. And based upon tstew specifically, and it looks like Eriror is going to be joining him, we have a wonderful Aga seed. So, woohoo! You guys are going to get all the gameplay you wanted to see regardless.
We see Eri commentating here in chat about he potentially made a slight mishap. Until we figure out what that mishap is, we assume you've done everything perfectly so far, Eri.
Well, depending on where that lamp is, because I am not going to lie, I have not looked at the spoiler log, but the hacking might be the lack of lamp. Everything else looks like it's the same on this side, so that's all I can speak for.
Yeah, always kind of nice, to hop in a race and the first thing you see is a runner climbing Aga Tower.
Yep, that's what we're having today. And meanwhile, go ahead and get your guests in chat. 0 through I said 22. Goodness gracious, help me. 0 through 15. How many blue balls is our wonderful wizard friend going to give us?
That would be terrible if you had 22 blue balls. I'm also not sure what game you're playing if you get 22 blue balls here, but terrible nonetheless.
Same game, you just missed a couple. For those who are asking, the Moon Pearl was in the top of Kakariko Well, so I'm fairly certain that is the bomb lock chest in the well. Making nice use of sword beams there. Meanwhile, tstew is taking the very slow arduous fight.
Yeah, so I think Eri entered Aga Tower right as tstew pretty much was facing Aga 1, so that might be the current set of difference in terms of time. But yes, as you're correct, and thank you so much to our tracker, it looks like the rest of the equipment is pretty much the same, although it does look like tstew ended up picking up an extra heart container somewhere.
Yeah, that does appear to be the case, especially since we're not going to see anything in terms of hearts or anything else to pick up here in Aga Tower on Eriror's side. So yep, that was picked up. Meanwhile, that is it, and with no glove and no hammer, this seed didn't even pretend to be a non-Aga seed. Like, we're doing it. Nice 300 rupees there. That'll make pod pretty easy. Or at least to get into, I should say.
Yeah, without the mirror, this is about as close as to the key under the doormat as we're going to get.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. We don't normally talk about that in terms of pod, but...
I think for a nice, April Fool's seed, they should just have Kiki give you 110 rupees. Here, take 10 rupees and I'll follow you. And here, take 100 rupees and I'll open the door for you.
That would only be really, really funny if you basically removed all of the rupees from the game and made the stun prize like a single green rupee. So
what would have I started?
Stunning, yeah. And then boom, Kiki gives you money. And you're like, come on.
Alright, so it looks like, at least according to our tracker, tstew is entering pod with the bow in hand, 5 arrows, with no hammer, so unless the hammer is here, tstew will not be able to complete this dungeon. It looks like just a slight mishap, oversight, remembering that he needs a key first.
Meanwhile, Erir is talking while playing. It's one of the more impressive / slightly insane things that our runners can do during this particular format. As this is a spoiler log match, they have access to all of the locations and everything else they could possibly need, so they are allowed to come in, watch the restream, watch each other's stream, or comment in chat if they so desire. Most people don't choose to do that because it's hard enough playing this game on 5 hearts and trying not to die, but some people do.
Sometimes I really wonder if these runners just have like an extra set of like 2 arms and 2 hands. You know, because, you know, granted I haven't ever met like Eri in person, but you know, these like just the fact that he can do so much really makes me wonder sometimes. Alright, looks like tstew is failing out of pod after picking up the glove from Dark Basement, along with an extra heart container. Eri looks like he had ended up picking up some more money elsewhere, so it does not need the 300 rupees from the pyramid.
Yeah, that looks like an approximate 300 grab somewhere else. It looks like we have some wonderful fake flickering comments here.
Yeah, it seems like everyone has their own version of fake flipper setup. I'm not actually sure if I've seen tstew's exact one to hold out the sword like that, but you know, whatever works for him.
So my particular strategy for it is to screen transition about a dozen times and then finally get it.
But of course, you're doing something different every time, right?
Exactly. Well, you have to. If you don't, then you're just—it's insanity. It's
yes.
doing the same thing every time, expecting a different result.
Yeah. So we did see tstew picking up the Titan's Mist out of the waterfall fairy. So this is a very nice sequence break. You know, especially given if the flippers are somewhere that's very inconvenient to get. You know, we will have to pick them up eventually because Swamp Palace is a crystal. But in order to do things that require the Titan's Myths, certainly could be more conveniently done if you sequence break them.
Yes, that is a good point. It looks like we are headed up the mountain, though, on tstew's side. And with that hook shot in hand, we're going to be able to grab just about everything on the mountain. Between that and the mitts and the mirror, or not the mirror, the mitts and the moon pearl. Sorry, I'm getting my M's mixed up here. Pretty much everything is going to be grabbable.
Now, given that that one glove was behind the waterfall fair, it seems like that tstew could have sequence broke up the mountain here earlier. And I guess so maybe perhaps whatever is here he didn't necessarily need until now.
And to those who are asking, basically what happened is Erir forgot that the moon pearl existed, so had to go back for it a little bit. That's currently the big difference going on here. That's why tstew is slightly ahead in terms of just linear place in the seed. But Erir is going to be right on his tail here, so...
It certainly makes me think that the flute is not as conveniently placed, or maybe the flute is up here. You know, both runners ended up deciding to lift the rock and rescue the old man this way.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's definitely the longer way around. So based upon the fact they are both headed up here and both waited to grab the mitts to do so, I'm thinking that maybe Hookshot Cave has either the flute or something similarly silly.
Yeah, and no medallion for either runners, it seems like, so if they want to make a dip into Turtle Rock, they currently cannot. Even though Turtle Rock is a pendant, there could still be something of worth inside. Hey look, there's a hammer! Wow!
That's not a nice place for that.
Yeah, I'm beginning to understand maybe why AGA 1 was required, and perhaps a double dipper pod was also required.
Okay, so thinking about it, if you fake flipper, because the first glove was gotten in the light world, right?
So there was one
Was
glove
that
in the waterfall cave, which is in the light world, and the other glove was in pod. So it would depend on where those flippers are.
gotcha? Well, right, because you could have moon pearled to the glove in the waterfall, but then because you need the other glove to get the hammer, you had to do AGA regardless. Like you couldn't even have fake flippered through it at that point.
Giving ourselves a worldly high five here. Fairy in the dark world near Hookshot Cave. tstew in the light world. Did he catch that fairy? He did, right?
Yep. And now with that hammer, we are going straight into Hera. Well,
Straight into
okay.
Hera. I see a book out on tstew's side. He's gonna go visit the ether tablet first. That's what you get, Hammer, for trying to predict what tstew's gonna do.
That's what I get for not looking at the spoiler log, really, let's be honest.
Oh, that mirror placement is, it's kind of close to where we would normally find it. Just a couple, thousands of whatever feet, above where it normally is.
Oh, is it a couple thousand feet? Is that why that stairwell takes so darn long to climb? That explains a lot, actually.
Wow, and we have a flute in the basement of Hera. It looks like tstew is going to give us Hera pot. Looks like it's the boostless bomb version.
Yeah, foregoing the spin speed there, but going to go ahead and knock that out first try. That is so nice. And yeah, chat pointing out this would be a terrible regular seed. You are absolutely correct.
Yeah, honestly, just thinking about how many trips you would probably take up the mountain, like just by looking for things.
Yeah, no kidding. Like, and yeah, for those of you who didn't see the beginning of this, it was terrible. We had to do AGA to go ahead and get the first glove out of pod and then break the second glove in the waterfall cave. And that would allow, as Eriror puts in chat, catching up. It's pretty funny. And that actually allows us. I mean, we still don't know where those flippers are, so technically that second glove's not in logic yet. But the mitts allowing us to get in the hookshot cave, grab the hammer, which allows us to save and quit without the mirror, to come back up here and grab the mirror off of ether tablet. And yeah, no, that's not very nice.
On Aries' side, before he ended up successfully executing Hera pot, he did a very nice bomb jump, very similar to tstew, no bonking required. He only did have 2 hearts at the time, so and he got it first try, so it was definitely very clutch to make sure that he succeeded.
Yeah, whenever you're... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no. I just finished up, on Aries' side. I think he did probably gain a little bit of time over tstew for the Moldorm fight. tstew, I believe, used spin slashes, but Aerie, I think, just used the hammer, and I think ended up gaining a little bit on tstew. Go ahead, Hammer.
No, you're good. Yeah, it's this seed at least being absolute heck with stuff on the mountain. So hopefully everything's going to cool down a little bit. But given that we're checking the library here, I'm not holding my breath. Oh, nice temper. Alright, so we were about 22 minutes in, and as all of you know, for a good spoiler log race, it is time to figure out what we need for go mode. It looks like we're still waiting on the Quake Medallion, that Cane of Samaria, and then Flippers? Is that all we need, or are you seeing something else for us?
No, I think in terms of just required items, we look like we're good to go. Save those number of items. Certainly I think the runners are hoping that they can get the Cane of Samaria before they finish up Ice Palace.
Yeah, most definitely. Being able to do that that icebreaker just saves. I mean, I guess it doesn't save as much time as it feels like it saves, but having to do it over the Ice Palace bomb jump, as we see a lovely quake in Pendant Thieves Town, so that's always nice to find. It just feels good to be able to walk in there and do icebreaker. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, and as Ari had pointed out earlier in chat, he is slowly but surely, seems like he's gaining some time on tstew. So they did take alternate routes to the library. I think, I want to say that Aries was slightly faster, because Aries started from Link's house, and the library's in the south of Kakariko, whereas tstew started from the Sanctuary.
Yeah, and in a spoiler log race like this, you're not gonna gain or lose any time looking for that last minute item that you might in a regular rando race. So as long as your route is okay in the 15 minutes that you were given, it is just about running through stuff as fast as you can. And you're doing a spin speed there to gain about a second, maybe half a second or so. And then probably losing it on the spears because that's how rando is. I'm sorry, Ari. I was trying to point out speed save, and then, well, you know, rando is rando.
Yeah, you don't normally think of these moblins, I guess, like these low-level guards as being so finicky as, say, much as like dead rocks, but yeah, they don't certainly have to be friendly to you. So that is both on tstew and Aries' side, picking up the flippers, which is certainly required for Swamp.
Yep, and now we just have the wonderful, glorious Cane of Samaria holding out on us.
Here's to hoping that the King of Samaria is not actually an ice palace. Or if it is an ice palace, it's the very first chest.
Nah, vanilla big key chest would be hilarious.
Yes, hilarious.
you know this chest that you can get to really fast using Icebreaker? Yep. Hi.
You know, it's always kind of nice to be able to see a throwback, right, to the more classical Ice Palace bomb jump version.
I'm fairly certain the runners don't agree with us there. Nice Mothula kill there. I'll tell you what though, with the Cane of Samaria being the only item we need, we're actually going to see a Turtle Rock free seat, which is just a wonderful thing. Yeah, that was quick.
Ari is certainly showing us why he is lauded as probably one of the best executors of this game. And really, kudos to tstew for being able to, actually executing Moth, certainly not, as fast as that, but I mean, it's just probably within seconds, right? And to be able to hold, your own against something like Ari is, quite impressive in itself.
Yeah, there's something to be said about going up against someone who is just known as a world-class executor of this game. Emphasis on executor because Moth just died, and staying within your game and just playing as best you can. It looks like we are both headed to the wonderful Swamp Palace, so I'm going to go ahead and assume that either Samaria or something that we need directly, or just as a really nice safety, is going to be just sitting in here that will make the rest of our dungeons quick. Ooh, that's a nice blue map.
That was a sick dodge there by Ari from the anti-fairy. I thought he was going to hit at least 3 times, but no, I actually just learned to trust Ari. So currently looks like Ari is probably 1 to 2 rooms here right behind tstew.
and Swamp Palace can be a bit sprawling, so there is plenty of time to make up or lose here, especially if you get some unpleasant RNG or just make some small mistakes with your movement, get hit a couple times.
Yeah, like so for example on these two sides, sometimes that skeleton can actually be quite annoying and try and do damage to you when you're trying to flip that switch. So it's kind of nice of that skeleton to kind of move aside for tstew.
We'll be seeing in a moment here if left side swamp is the answer, and thankfully it does not appear to be so. And this is an interesting difference here. tstew is not comfortable with doing diver down without Cane of Samaria at the very least, and Eriror is following.
Eri further kind of displaying his execution abilities here. I'm pretty sure the gap is slightly smaller from when they both entered Swamp Palace here.
Yeah, most definitely, especially with that difficulty that tstew had with the dash there. Eriror is just a couple seconds behind, and is going to save another second or two there because tstew decided to grab those 2 hearts, and Eriror did not need them, being a full heart. And we are saying just let the fun begin.
Eri taking the galaxy break here to damage boost off of these water guys.
Alright, can we get synced 1 cycles?
Oh, both of them. Oh no, Eri's going for the quick kill. Oh. Well, that last puff certainly was not friendly for Eri. He had a really good start though.
Still saved quite a bit of time there as Eriror is done while tstew is does that count as a commentator's curse if I didn't quite get it out?
No, I mean, it looks like tstew also just had some unfortunate timing because I think he killed the puff, but Argus was already doing, I guess, like the spin. So then he had to go through that whole second cycle. Yeah, and then I don't know what happened with the movement, but it looks like tstew was not able to land the last fire rod shot.
Yeah, it looks like it, and then the second time I think he didn't release the spin quite fast enough. So ended up getting a poke on Argus instead of a temperature spin. And we are having a lovely stop over here at the Lake Hylia Island for, believe it or not. Alright, so we are officially in beat all the bosses and run for your life mode.
I can certainly understand, because that's where the Cane of Samaria was on Lake Hylia Island, that both runners opted to, just basically take one loop around Dark World to go to Swamp and then Lake Hylia Island and then immediately to Ice. The amount of time that Diver Down with Samaria would save is definitely not going to be better than just like routing directly instead of backtracking.
Yeah, that backtrack would waste way more time than Diver Down would save, so...
So I think as Chad had previously speculated, and also consistent with our tracker, Eri does not have the ice rod, so he will have to probably go back and get it at some point, whereas tstew does. Even though these runners are pretty, very, very close in terms of, where they are in the dungeon, Eri does have to allow a little bit more time.
I would agree with you, except the fact that TR is a pendant.
You are absolutely correct. Never mind what I just said.
Eriror did pull off the icebreaker very cleanly there. tstew gonna go running to give a nice shot at it. Yeah, Turtle Rock not actually required today, so that is really nice. Don't actually need that ice rod. There we go. Go ahead and pull 1 pixel to the left, and then down, and perfect.
Eri made very nice use of that hammer to to maneuver his way across the ice.
Yeah,
Sorry, Eri.
Yeah, Eriror in chat telling us that perhaps we should not speak of the ice rod because we nearly terrified the poor man, and that's not our goal here as commentators. So, all ice rod talk
No,
from
no.
henceforth.
Yeah, no, we certainly want both our runners to keep their cool, especially in Ice Palace.
There you go, got him.
Eri with the beautiful Cold Stare takedown. Boots, sword spins, keeps Cold Stare right in the corner. Temper Sword certainly makes things a little bit easier in terms of damage, and you just need one more spin. But that was just beautifully executed.
Yep, so that is crystal number 4. We are just sitting on the Eastern Pod combo, and then a lovely Mystery Mire. And tstew is using a strat that we've been seeing more often as of late. The lovely fire, he pulled out fire rod. My brain just went to mush. The sword beam strat, where basically how it works is if you can land a sword beam on the Cold Stare shell while the fire rod is still active in splash damage, then you'll actually get 2 hits instead of 1. So you can rapidly oscillate between sword swing with the sword beams and then fire rod chop back and forth and knock it out much less magic than you need otherwise. And you can use it to finish off the other buffs if you want.
Yeah, as we did witness tstew doing exactly that, using the fire rod to his advantage. And yeah, also, normally sword beams aren't terribly desired among, especially, like rando players, because, sometimes sword beams overwrite whatever sword level you have. So, and sword beams are always fighter sword damage. But in this case, we actually see that sword beams are an advantage.
Yeah, sword beams are, no pun intended, a double-edged sword, because there's sometimes they help you out, especially in situations where you don't want to have to get too close to an enemy, either because the room is dangerous or because you're just not feeling like getting hit. But then there's a lot of times that, yeah, your sword damage does get overwritten by plastic sword damage, and that's just not fun.
It looks like both runners are going to be back in pod with the King of Samaria in hand. Going to take a nice little shortcut instead of pushing and pulling that statue and just place a Samaria block down. So, with the exception of these runners having blue mail, this damage output, this type of safety is pretty much NMG level, with 6 hearts. So I certainly imagine Eri is very well practiced here.
Yeah, not to mention that Tempered Sword's going to make things a lot easier for Helmasaur.
That hammer hit, and that hammer hitbox is finicky. I'm not even sure what happened, such that the hammer hit didn't look like it landed, or it landed but it didn't register. But but Eri made a very nice recovery.
I've honestly stopped trying to figure out what the hammer hitbox does and doesn't do anymore. You just accept it.
So with blue mail and 5.5 hearts, Eri does have a bit more safety than like a normal NMG run. Helmasaur normally would do 2 hearts of damage to you, but in this case with blue mail it's only 1, so he can take a little bit more damage. Of course, he takes down Helma, no problem. With Temper Sword, as you mentioned, it's just a couple swipes.
Yeah, Turtle Room being a little less friendly for tstew, but still getting through it, as Eriror, as you mentioned, completely and totally annihilated Helmasaur.
Yeah, it's really very nice that these runners also have tempered for that room as well. Normally if you come here in an NG run, you have Master Sword, and you either then are going to kill the turtles with the hammer, which, as we've seen, can be finicky, or you need basically a lot more hits for with the Master Sword. And sometimes that is one room that runners sometimes will purposely lose their sword beams so that they can get Master Sword damage, as opposed to Spider Sword beams that sometimes can land a Spider Sword damage.
These two having a pretty clean fight there. I guess both of our runners kind of caught that boss sleeping, so does that make it a Helma snore?
Alright, so with pod cleared on both sides, Eri is the first one to enter Eastern Palace, dashing his way through. Looks like there's something in the big chest. An extra heart container, very conveniently placed, and very much on the way to get.
See, now I want to start singing. Dashing through Eastern, got a heart on the way. Go find the Armos. We ain't got all day. Sorry.
Now, I know that Eri did pick up the lamp early when we first started watching this stream, but we do see certainly that the earlier you pick up the lamp, the more investment it has to pay off. Like in this case, the runners, while they're very capable of doing Eastern Dark Rooms, in this case they didn't have to. And just because you're capable does not mean that you won't necessarily lose time on them. Great, giving us a very slightly different Armos quick kill, but very well executed nonetheless. While it was not necessary for both these runners in that Eastern Dark Room that is no longer a Dark Room with the Igor kill, because these guys have Tempered, in the case that if they miss with the arrow, they can just take a Temper Sword and slash it anyway. I'm sure it's just muscle memory, because you don't only come here Eastern with that good of a sword.
Yeah, one thing that you'll realize when watching these runners, especially the ones who are really, really good, is that sometimes muscle memory is your worst nightmare. tstew realizing he needed some arrows there, that's nice, because you really don't want to go into Armos Knights with 16 arrows. And that is a nice
It looks like
kill
before
for
hopping.
tstew.
No, I absolutely agree with you. That was very nice to kill by tstew as well. I mean, both these runners are very, very strong execution here. Yeah, and then I think I just mentioned on Eri's side, it looks like that he did stop by Meyer to pick up another safety. With Fire Rod and Sword Beams, this is also another well-practiced room for NMG runners.
You know, I was waiting for him to miss that last Pobo down on the bottom there, so I could just call out Calm Curse on you.
I mean, like people talk about blink and you miss it Vitreous fights with silver arrows. I mean, like that room, if done properly, is also a blink and you miss it room.
Yeah, when you have a game that's as old as this one, we're coming up on about 30 years for this game. A lot of the room strats can be done to the point where they're all somewhat blink and you miss them. And Eriror knowing that there were arrows on that pot there, I had no idea. I knew there was a bunny beam there, but I had no idea about the arrows. So that's pretty good knowledge.
If anyone's gonna have good game knowledge of, Eri's a pretty good candidate.
Not too bad of a big key placement here, so Meyer is not going to drag this out as long as it could have.
So we also do see tstew making his way through Mire. He will pick up this big key very shortly. Meanwhile, Eri is headed down to the basement. Looks like he does have the right setup for a spooky.
I will defer to you on that because even after all this time, I have no idea how it works.
Alright, looks like he got it. So what spooky does is, so first you have to kick up dust before you place the Samaria block. And then you're going to use a fire rod to use for splash damage. The first hit was in the previous room on the spike. The second one is the hit on the fairy, and then the third hit here is on the torch.
Cool. Saves quite a bit of time. I think 7 or 8 seconds overall, which is massive when you're talking about a vanilla run. Speaking of vanilla, we have some debuff sword strats here. Nicely done. And yeah, that's all we wrote. One more arrow into that one, and now we just need 8 for the eyeball. Although, we might be doing some sword slashes instead, since Eriror is kind of a lot of arrows.
I was gonna say, I mean, so like that last eyeball only took 1 arrow, and I was like, wow, you know, the big eyeball only takes 8 arrows. I'm like, Eri, that is like amazing resource management. But you are absolutely correct and it sounds like after picking up this crystal and half magic as the prize, they probably want to head to straight to GT, where GT upstairs mimic room will require some more arrows initially.
That's a good point. Speaking of GT, we have 22 locations that could contain the big key in the basement of said GT. Don't go ahead, don't get any numbers in there, because we're going to be skipping a boatload of chests. Well, hopefully not, hopefully it'll be really early. But what I need instead is a room for that big key, and if the room has more than 1 chest, go ahead and give me a specific chest location as well. Area is going to be about 1.5 minutes to get up here as tstew just... Oh yeah, we've got the ferry.
He has a ferry, that's right. That is actually one safety that tstew has over Eri right now.
Yeah, Eriror didn't even bother with the bottle, so...
Alright, because tstew ended up getting some fortunate sword spins in before he ended up taking a death. He only needed 6 arrows, it looks like, to kill Vitreous. So it sounds like then he will need to find a couple more arrows somewhere, presumably in GT, before he can do upstairs.
Yeah, that's a good point. And that's a situation where I don't know that there are a whole lot of arrows hanging out relatively early in the bottom of GT. I know there's a bunch later on, especially in the room just before Ice Armos. But I don't know about before that.
If only there was some sort of log that spoiled all the locations of all the items that they could look into.
You know...
it's just a theory that I'm throwing out there.
That's fair, but based upon where that big key is, you might not be walking past a whole lot of chests. Just saying.
Walking? Do you want this run to drag on for longer? These guys have boots.
Look, I missed the first 8 minutes or so. Yes, I wanted to drag on. I've been here for less than 40 minutes at this point.
Oh, that's actually a good point. You know, us, we were not graced for the first 8 minutes of this run. We should get some sort of refund back.
Give me more. Alright, small key, and we are headed over to the compass room, looks like.
Could it be tile room? Fingers crossed. Eri.
Yeah,
my dash.
tstew having a really nice 10 arrow there in Super Bunny Cave, so proving me wrong. Eriror being very magic conscious there, using lamp for 2 of those torches.
Alright, tstew very shortly behind Eri here. Looks like just one right side clear.
There it is. Goodness, that was like dungeon room extravaganza right there. Map, compass, and big key. Holy cow.
Yeah, maybe Eri was going for a full dungeon item completion rate for GT. Or maybe he just really wanted to know where the boss is for this tower.
Nice little refill there.
Yeah, exactly 8 arrows and 4 mimics down. So I don't think I would expect anything less than from Eri. Picking up an extra 5 arrows certainly not needed unless unless silvers are up here in GT. But it's always nice to have a little bit of extra options when you're going through the gauntlet.
Yeah, I was going to say, even with half magic, without any bottles or any way to replenish that the magic there, Eriror is probably preferring to use the few arrows that he has over using the very limited magic supply. Because the last thing you want to do is run out of magic once you get up there. That's no fun at all. I would like to just say, this set of rooms is called the Gauntlet. It's called the Gauntlet because it's difficult. Eriror is making a very strong point that this Gauntlet is not difficult. Eriror lies. This is a very hard set of rooms. Enemy RNG means that these rooms are basically not going to be the same, ever. And yeah, speaking of destroying things, there goes Landmo 2, blink and miss it.
Yeah, that was a very efficient use of Fire Rod. I mean, it was, I think, 5 hits and a sword spin, but, you know, given that I think 2 Landmos had short hops, you know, Eri did a really good job.
And now to the most satisfying rooms in the game. These King of Samara rooms are just so much fun, and they're not actually that difficult to pull off. So it's one of those sets where you feel really good the first time you get it, and you can generally repeat it pretty easily from that point forward. Ooh, tstew getting sidestepped by the Stealthos there, just missing that. While Eriror is flying through this first sword.
Yeah, as you mentioned, that RNG is going to be different for these guys. RNG for these Gauntlet rooms can certainly make or break runs, and these guys are not cooperating with tstew here.
Ring around the beamers. Alright, so we have gotten to one of our favorite bosses, Moldorm 2. tstew gonna want to be careful here, down to 1 heart. And I don't believe having any safeties at this point. Okay.
You only need 1 heart if you never get hit.
Mm-hmm. That sounds like a wonderful way to die.
Alright, Eri dashing his way to Aga2. Does not seem optimistic based on his comments in chat for his fight here, but hopefully we'll get some good pattern for him. That looks like a double on Eri's side.
Oh, that was
that did not look like a double on the second cycle. Sorry, Eri. Oh my gosh!
Honestly, I thought we were going to get a blue ball there again, and that was going to be another 0. But 4 cycles, still not bad, especially with those patterns. That was just not... Aga2 was not having it today.
Now, unlike the RNGs during the Gauntlet, Aga2's RNG or teleport patterns are fixed as well as canon, so tstew will have the same situation to deal with.
tstew probably wishing he had a powder here with 1 heart.
He just doubled his heart health.
Yo, Ganon asking the important questions. Clearmouse, if you were a burrito, what kind of burrito do you think you'd be?
That I would be or that I would eat?
I mean, Ganon asked what kind of burrito would you be? Being a pig, I'm assuming that Ganon would eat pretty much any kind of burrito as long as it was decent pay.
As we're thinking about food, Eri making very impressive dodges for those fire bats. Already on phase 3, shortly will be phase 4. You find the silver arrows and turtle rock. Hey, maybe they were on Trinex, and we really did need the ice rock.
See, alternatively, there's this strat called Silverless, and it means that in 9 spins from now, Eriror is going to have a dead piggy.
I bet Eri has never done Silverless in his life before this run. He's just that good of a learner.
Flawless execution, triples left, right, crooked.
tstew down to half a heart after his Aga 2 fight.
I'm sorry, I said perfect and then Eriror missed a spin. I'm sorry. Still really nicely done there. Eriror just has the final boss of A Link to the Past, a 3x1 bridge to cross. Once that is successfully done, get your GGs in chat. And there we go. Eriror finishing in first place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 9 minutes, and 11 seconds. Keep in mind that does include the 15-minute spoiler log tournament as tstew takes a hug. And we are joined in the booth by Eriror. GG, my friend.
GG's, Eri. I'm sorry about the ice rod talk. In my defense, we came in late and I thought it was required and I didn't actually look at the tracker.
Good, all good. Deep inside, I knew it wasn't necessary. It was okay, but it was like, wait, did I really miss something? No, I'm in go mode, right? I am in go mode, right? Yeah, all good.
But I guess you were. Oh no! Go ahead, Hammer.
I think you didn't seem to lack for multitasking capabilities, so I'm sure you could double check the log real quick.
Yeah, but it's always the fear that you just miss something really obvious. You know, like skipping the moon pearl that's in the back of Kakariko.
Hey, if I didn't see it, it didn't happen. And we jumped in about 8 minutes and change into the race, so I didn't see it. I have no proof that this occurred.
So yeah, it wasn't a great start of the run because I was fake flipping to Waterfall Ferry. I was like, let's see. Oh, and I menued and I saw that I didn't have the moon pearl. I was like, well, let's just get the glove. And then I realized that I couldn't actually get the glove because I needed the moon pearl in order to get the water walk status. So I was like, well, this is not a great start. And yeah.
That's definitely one of those sneaky requirements that you won't necessarily think of off the top of your head. Because you look at Waterfall Fairy and you're like, well, I can just fake flipper that. That doesn't matter. But then necessarily thinking of like, oh wait, I need the moon pearl to fake flipper. Not something you're always that's gonna be on the top of your head.
Yeah, like you do realize it when you're making the route, and then when something goes awry, you just try to like stay on track as much as possible. And well, yeah, something like that just happens. It's okay.
Oh, that was really unfortunate. tstew opened up both those torches to get sat on by Ganon. That was not fun.
Yeah, Ganon is another one of those tricky fights where if it goes off the rails, like if you miss torch glitch and you don't have a set plan, it is really hard to be able to fight him properly. So in a way, resetting the fight is probably still the best option in the first place.
Yeah, and doing Silverless Ganon while the torch glitch is just not fun anyways. Like
It's so boring.
Feasible? It's feasible, but then you gotta work for your doubles, and it's just, no, I'm good. Oh, Firebat. So I do have an important question for you, Eriror. And Ganon asked it, so I'm sure you've been thinking about it over the last couple minutes. If you were a burrito, what kind of burrito do you think you'd be?
Oh, that's rough. I don't know. Anything that's either very spicy or very garlicky, I guess.
That's fair.
I'm so hungry now, Eri.
I mean, Ganon was hungry too. He ate all my inputs when I was trying to fire out the torch.
I thought you were going to say he was eating bacon for a couple minutes there. That would have worked too. See, personally, I think I'd be a chicken burrito because I like all of the safeties.
Oh, that's a good one too. I appreciate that one.
Yeah, except you can't use it, so, you know, you're going to have to find your own answer. Uh-oh.
And really, Eri, like, I mean, you had an extremely well-executed fight. I mean, you know, so granted, you know, Hammer and I did not see your early game, so, you know, when we came in, we just saw that you were pretty much one Aga Tower behind tstew, but given pretty much very similar routing, I mean, you just executed so well that every single thing that you did just ended up gaining a little bit of time, such that by the time that, you know, you basically got to DT, you were ahead.
Yeah, I was watching, obviously watching the restream on the side, so it was nice to see that, like, every single dungeon and item pickup, I was catching up a little. He had a really unfortunate Mafia fight that allowed me to catch up, like 10 or something seconds, and from there on out, I just started to take over slowly.
For the record, like, you had an amazing moth fight. Like, I'm not sure, like, if any other moth fight could have compared to yours.
Yeah, that's fair. It was pretty much perfect.
That's one of those things. If you have Temper Sword or Gold Sword, and you can get that double hit on the dash, it can go really, really, really fast.
Yeah. The trick with martial, of course, is that the longer the fight goes, the worse it gets. So you really just want to take him down as quickly as possible, and that's why it's sometimes even worth to just take damage early on, so that it doesn't get drawn out, because then it just becomes more dangerous.
I feel like remember all your tips, Eri. You know, to make a successful NMG run here.
Well, if I can quickly make it quick. On the Go Mode podcast, I had a few episodes about boss fights, where I was a guest. So if you're wondering about any boss fights, listening to that might help a little bit.
You were there for 2 episodes, right? It was like boss fights like A through Z, and I think you did both, like, the alphabet in 2 episodes.
Yeah. So that was my quick ad.
And that being said, this guy is like, I don't know exactly your place in the NMG leaderboard, but I know you're really high up there.
Yeah, I'm 4th at the moment.
Good.
Recently PB'd by 1 second.
Look, at that point when you're 4th, 1 second's a big deal, okay?
Yeah. I'm still grinding a little bit. Been a little bit less active the last few weeks. Been a bit sickly and all that stuff, so I've just been focusing on work instead. I hope to be able to get, like, maybe 3rd at the end of the year, but, like, at the 123 level, the margins become so tight and every mistake is so punishing. But yeah, we'll see. It's still fun. As long as it stays fun, I'd like to keep running the game. And if it stops being fun, we'll maybe find something different or just take a small break.
Yeah, that's the most important part. If you're having a good time, keep doing it. If you're not, find something else. Speaking of which, tstew finally takes down our favorite resident piggy, finishes in 2nd place with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 16 minutes, and 14 seconds. If you're using chat for tstew.
Yeah, really beat tstew. I mean, like, you know, he persevered through the entire. I think I lost count of how many times Ganon decided to bully him. But, you know, I'm really happy that tstew ended up finishing this run instead of fulfilling.
Ganon just gets so hard once it starts getting in your head. So, I mean, dying a couple of times is no big shame at all. So GG's on him for anything. And I definitely was sweating at the start. So
speaking of sweating, you're definitely moving on to the top 8. Is there anyone that you do want to face upcoming, or that you don't want to face? As we do welcome tstew in the booth. GG, my friend.
Thanks. GG's, Eriror.
Yo, GG's.
Yeah, so as I was saying, Eriror, you're definitely making it into the top 8. tstew, I don't know how your tiebreakers are. Do you know where you're sitting in likelihood of making it in?
I'm 4-3, so I'm not gonna.
Oh right, you got up paired. That was right. I forgot about that.
I did not know
Oh.
that. Sorry.
You were the one fortunate person that got to play all the 5-1. So congratulations, tstew. Luck is on your side.
Lucky.
I'm so sorry.
tstew though, I think we were saying earlier. I don't know if you ended up hearing us on the restream, but everyone was very happy that you ended up finishing the race instead of forfeiting. Yeah, we kind of lost we lost track of how many times Ganon ended up killing you, but it was very. They showed a lot of perseverance for your side.
Yeah, I just wasn't playing well on Ganon there. I don't know.
Ganon's one of those things where, you can play it and you can practice it, and you can have it down 10, 20, 30 times in a row, and then it's a lot like Armos Knights in actuality. Like, there's just this small chance that it's going to go wrong. The difference is, in a spoiler log, if you mess up Armos Knights, you're fine. If you mess up Ganon, you're dead. And then once you die once, you're sitting here like, how many times have I faced this stupid thing? And I died. And then it just gets in your head. But you definitely did persevere, and I played several games like that where it just Ganon hits you once and then hits you 3 more times, and you're like, all right, I love this game. This game is great.
Yeah, especially in a spoiler log situation where you just have fewer safeties and have less health. It goes off the rails so quickly.
It definitely does. tstew, I do have an important question for you, one that Ganon did bring up. If you were a burrito, what kind of burrito do you think you'd be?
I don't know.
Fair enough.
Yeah, pretty much the same.
tstew, I did want to just commend you on your execution. So, to go up against somebody like Eri is, I don't know how good anyone's going to come out looking compared to Eri, but you really did hold your own. And really, like, the main time difference here is pretty much Ganon. I mean, the fact that you I think you executed, like, very, very well, like, throughout the race.
Yeah, I'm happy I was that close for pretty much the whole race. It was pretty nice.
Were you watching the restream at all? Well, I guess maybe the better question is, were you watching Eri's stream at all, in particular for the first 8 minutes, or did you kind of know like where you were in the race?
I was like turning it on and off. So I saw that like he forgot Moon Pearl or something, right?
Yep, that sure happened.
And that's one of those situations. That's kind of what makes spoiler log races, in my opinion, the hardest individual format to run, because you have 15 minutes of like mentally screaming where you're just trying to get a route together as fast as you can, and okay, what safeties can I get along the way, and is it worth it to grab boots now, or should I wait until later, and what are the kind of nuances of this route that I need to think of? And then you have usually somewhere between 50 minutes and an hour and 5 minutes, depending on the seed, where you're just playing like 2-hit KO the entire time, while trying to maintain as close to your route as you can, while making sure that you didn't make any mistakes. So,
yep.
Kudos to both of you. Like, spoiler log is hard as heck.
I found it really amusing that both of us went for the boots before Agate Tower, even though it wasn't required in the seed at all.
Yeah, I went for them just because it was just way too long to go without boots if you don't get them there.
Yeah, you would have to go all the way, like the whole Death Mountain sequence, activate the flute, and then you can go get them. But yeah, it was probably worth it in the long run. It's so convenient to just have boots and be able to do whatever you want.
No kidding. Especially when, the seed puts you through an 8-minute Agate Tower. So if you're going to give me Agate Tower, I'm at least going to go through it quickly. Thank you very much.
Oh, I did have a question for both of you. So when you guys went through the swamp, neither of you did diver down on the back. I guess, was it a routing decision to just normally do, the rooms the normal way, or was it because there was no King of Samaria?
I don't know the bomb setup. I'm way too lazy to learn it.
Alright, fair enough.
And I only know the Samaria setup because of the All Dungeons tournament, because of the category. So, yeah.
I only know the Samaria setup, so I just didn't do it.
And I did consider getting Samaria, doing Ice Palace first, and then coming back for Swamp, but I didn't feel that was faster than just doing Swamp the normal way.
Yeah, Diver Down's only a couple of seconds. It's definitely not going to be worth heading over to Lake Hylia Island and then coming back.
Yeah.
Especially because there weren't anything in those 2 chests you needed. So
It's like 10 seconds if you don't need to grab the chest, so it's definitely not worth it. Yeah, there were a couple of interesting routing considerations to make. I heard that tstew got like 300 rupees on Pyramid, which I didn't even realize were there. I wanted to quickly check if like Lost Woods had them, so I got them from there, and then also got the bomb pool. But yeah, the Pyramid was a nice alternative. I don't know where you got the bombs from then, though.
I got bombs from the pool in Cat. The house.
Oh, that's smart. Alright, I like that one. Sweet.
So, Eriror, as I had mentioned before, right as tstew was taking out the pig, do you have anyone that you are looking forward to facing or not looking forward to facing out of this top 8?
It's hard. I know exactly who I only want to face in the finals, and that's Kyung. I want my revenge against Kyung in the finals, and that's it. I mean, he's definitely gonna make it there. He's like, as far as I'm concerned, he's the favorite to win, and the rest of us can only try to claw at his feet. Out of the, I don't know. There's like a couple of potential top 8ers. If Ak makes it, wait, did Ak or Gerdo win?
Gerdo, yes, Gerdo did beat Ak, and it was actually pretty much the difference was Icebreaker execution. Ak chose to eventually decided that Ice Palace Bomb Hover was the way to go versus Gerdo chose to Icebreaker. And in fact, actually, your win, Eri, is going to help Gerdo out because you'd faced him, and so tiebreaker is based on strength opponents, right? So I think Gerdo was very happy to see you, or he'll be happy to hear that you won.
Alright, so rematch against him would be cool. Maybe rematch against Zelda if he makes it into the top 8 would be cool. Other than that, yeah, there's a couple of rough matchups that would be really fun to see in the top 8. But in the end, like the final boss will be Kyung, and I hope to make it there.
Certainly would be rooting for you. Oh, and we have Sinek in chat saying that there is also potentially a chance for a race-off. I guess we're gonna have to see the math.
Oh, that's interesting.
So,
That would be nice.
Sinek, what's the distance on that race-off? Is that going to be like a 50-yard sprint, 100-yard sprint? How are we doing that? I'm sorry, I can't help it. I really can't.
I was gonna say more be like meters, but I'm a fan of the metric system personally.
Yes, come over. Get over here to Europe.
All right, so tstew. I think this because this concludes the Swiss portion of the tournament, which means that if you're 4-3, most likely you probably won't make brackets. Any general thoughts about the tournament? Like, did you start doing spoiler lock races before this tournament?
I think I may have done like 1 or 2 before, but until this tournament, I didn't do that many of them.
So, what do you think about the format in general? Do you enjoy just the chaos it provides?
Yeah, it's really fun. I definitely enjoy them.
Which means potentially you're going to join next year's spoiler tournament as well?
Probably.
Wow, Clearmouse just reeling him in there. That was pretty nicely done.
Hey, I mean, this year at 64, certainly we want more participation next year. It's just more work for Sinek, really, at the end.
Hey, he enjoys doing it.
Sinek doesn't sleep anyways, it doesn't matter. Alright, so that being said, I think we're just about done here. Did either of you guys have anything you wanted to say, Eriror or tstew?
Thank you very much for the race. I hope you had a good time, and good luck in any other round of shenanigans you're up to. And hope to see you around.
And good luck to you in this tournament, Eriror.
And thanks to all the comms and all the people behind the scenes doing all the hard work. So thank you very much, and hope to see you guys around.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing you in practice, Ari. Thank you so much to you, Ari, and tstew for racing. You guys put on a really great show for us. Very enjoyable to watch, despite missing the first 8 minutes. But apparently the first 8 minutes were pretty terrible for Ari, so maybe it's for the better that none of us saw that.
It only went uphill from there.
Good point. Thank you for both of you guys for running and putting on a show for us. If you guys haven't already, give both of these guys a follow. What are you doing? They're awesome at this game. They put on a wonderful show. tstew hanging in there right until the very end. So give both these guys a follow. Also, super shout-outs to our tracker, Dark Diplomat, who not only was pressing all the buttons today, but started out keeping track of 2 streams and trying to figure out what each runner had, and then put it all on the tracker in just record time. So shout-outs to our wonderful tracker who was just keeping track of all of that for us. I do think we have another big old race coming up later today that you're going to want to stay tuned for. I know it's 8:15, but I don't have the schedule up right now because I'm a terrible commentator.
It is 8:15, and it is featuring the what Ari calls Kyung as the final boss versus Farame. It will be a Portuguese showdown, and one probably I think many people are excited to watch.
Yeah, and that one is going to be on this very channel. So if you haven't gotten your fix of Rando yet tonight, tune in just a couple hours. And you're going to have a heck of a race because Kyung is 6-0 and Farame is 5-1. So, whew, although both of these guys are going to be making it into the playoffs regardless of how this race goes, there's going to be a little bit of bragging rights to go back and forth, at least for a little while. Anyways, I think that is all for us, so thanks you guys for watching and dealing with my terrible puns and shenanigans. I don't have anything else, so Clear Mouse, do you want to just go ahead and take us out?
Well, thank you so much for SpeedGaming to host this tournament for us. Thank you again to our runners. Put on a really great show. I certainly hope to see everybody back at 8:15 in a couple hours. Have a good night until then.